Hey everybody, my name is Mark Foster. Thank you so much for watching today. Every week at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll drop a 5 to 10 minute video and share a story with you. Hopefully something that you'll enjoy, something that you'll chuckle about, maybe something that you'll see yourself in. And we'll connect for just a few moments and then go about our week. If you find these videos to meet any of those qualifications, please share it with someone that you think would enjoy it as well. Have you ever ridden Uber? I've never ridden an Uber. Not in my life. I've never done Uber. I've never done Lyft. I've never even ridden a taxi. I've walked. I've ridden bicycles. I've drove my own car. I've been behind the wheel of my own vehicle, but I've never done Uber. Last week, I thought I was going to have the opportunity to do Uber for the very first time. My wife and I were flying to Florida for a conference, and rather than renting a car to go from the airport to the hotel, we thought, let's try Uber. Everyone else is doing it. Now, beforehand, I had called the hotel to ask whether they had a shuttle to go from the Sarasota airport to the Hilton Hotel, Embassy Suites by Hilton in Sarasota. And they told me, Mr. Foster, we do not have an airport shuttle. But it's only a 10-minute drive, so Uber or taxi would be no problem. So we downloaded the app, and I was anxiously looking forward to my first Uber experience. We got to the airport in Sarasota at about 4:30 in the afternoon. We walked out the baggage claim doors into the sunny Florida weather. We had left in a snowstorm from Maine and arrived later that day in 80 degrees and sunshine in Florida. When you walk out the door, that humidity just hits you right in the face. And I thought, this is going to be an amazing time. Out comes the Uber app, and I pop it up, having never done it before, and worked my way through. I picked the car that we would need and went to click on the terminal where I was to be picked up, and nothing happened. As you might know, if you're technologically savvy as I am, that if you click on a button on your computer or phone and nothing happens, the dead sure way to get it to work quicker is just to keep on clicking it. And so I kept on clicking it, but it wasn't working. Every other location was available, but not the one where I was. And I thought maybe I did something wrong. So I looked around and there were other people also trying to call Uber, and their buttons were grayed out. Now, I still to this day do not know why it was grayed out. All I know is that is exactly the kind of circumstance that in the past I would have gotten angry, irrational, and just sat down in a corner somewhere and sucked my thumb. And I remember saying to my wife in that moment, who was traveling with me, did I mention that? I said, I don't know what to do now. And normally in the past, I would have shut down or gotten angry and said something sarcastic or said something unnecessarily sharp and ruined a perfectly wonderful experience. As I was sitting there scratching my head wondering, well, now do we walk? Do we try to call a taxi? How do you even call a taxi? I've never done a taxi before. Certainly I can do a taxi. I looked up and I saw coming from my left across my field of view, I saw what looked like a shuttle bus from Hilton, from the Embassy Suites by Hilton. And I said, but the lady told me on the phone in English, Mr. Foster, we don't have a shuttle. But I said, that looks like a shuttle. And my wife said, it looks like a shuttle. And then someone got out, the driver got out, and we saw people putting their luggage on it. And I said, maybe there's more than one Embassy Suites by Hilton. Now, I had a choice to make in that moment. My choice was, am I going to lean into the frustration that Uber isn't working, or am I going to go and ask, are you a shuttle going to the Hilton Hotel in Sarasota? There was a part of me that said, I'm not going to go ask. The lady already told me there wasn't a shuttle. I mean, there's a shuttle right there, but I don't want to look like an idiot. In the past, when I would gotten angry, I would have not gone and asked. I would have just stewed about the fact that Uber wasn't working. And I would have watched that shuttle walk away or drive away, because it's easier when you're angry just to compound the problem. Instead, I took a deep breath and I said to my wife, I'm going to go over there and ask, because what's the worst that can happen? So I left my wife with the carry-on luggage and I ran about 50 feet over to the shuttle and I said, "Excuse me." And people were getting on. I said, "Is this a shuttle to the Embassy Suites by Hilton?" And they were like, "Well, technically no, but yes," is what I was told, which, is incredibly clear. The gentleman who was driving, he said, "Well, they actually told you right. We don't technically have a shuttle, but we do shuttle airline employees back and forth from the airport to the hotel. It was a courtesy worked out between the hotel and the airlines. I suppose that makes perfect sense. But it's not for everyday, ordinary passengers." And I said, "Oh, okay, so that makes sense. Well, thank you so much." And I began to walk away. And the man said, "But I do have 2 empty seats if you'd like to tag along." And I said, "No, I'm not an airline employee. Why would I want to tag along? No, I'll just keep trying to do Uber." No, I didn't say that at all. I said, "Well, as it so happens, there are 2 of us and we would love to have those seats. Thank you so, so much." And I looked at my wife and I waved her over and she grabbed all of our luggage and came the 50 feet. I didn't want to leave the bus in case they just drove off. So I had her bring the luggage over for us. And we loaded it up and we got on the shuttle bus. And 10 minutes later, we were checking in at the hotel. It wasn't lost on me as I thought about it later how many ways I could have totally missed that opportunity that was in front of me. If I had gotten angry, I wouldn't have been looking for another option. If I had given in to that frustration and given up and shut down like I have in the past, I probably would have ended up making my wife angry with me. And then even if we had gotten to the Hilton, it wouldn't have been a fun vacation. Not only that, then the opportunity that was in front of me wasn't a guarantee. I could have missed it. And I thought a lot about that. And I wonder how many opportunities have been placed in front of me over the years that my frustration and anger caused me to miss. People say all the time, well, the timing is perfect, or the universe this, or everything works out in the right time. And I'm sure that in some sense that's true, but I also think that if the opportunities are in front of us and we don't see them or we don't take them, we miss them. And at least in this case, I recognized gratefully that because I'd been doing the work to be more in control of my mind and my attitude, and I didn't give in to frustration when the Uber didn't work out, I was in a frame of mind willing and able to take the opportunity that was presented to me. So I still have never ridden an Uber. Maybe someday I will. But I did get a really cool story about riding a shuttle that didn't exist. And I bet this week, if you keep your wits about you and your eyes open, when you come up against a barrier or a frustration, I bet you'll see an opportunity there as well. Maybe it won't look like what you thought, and maybe it'll be in an area that someone told you couldn't happen. But I bet it's there. I would love to hear about it if that happens. Well, that's my story. Thank you so much for listening. Now you go live your own story, and I'll see you next week. Have a great day.